Hey everybody, this is Joe Joseph, and this is the DailySheeple.com's news shot. Over at BreakingDefense.com, because, I go there and comb that every... Trump picks technocrats, not billionaires, for top Pentagon posts. Oh, joy! So instead of the billionaires getting in to the Department of Defense, instead we have technocrats. That's so much better. Let's see what Breaking Defense... I wish it really meant what it, instead of like Breaking Defense News, I wish it actually meant that, like breaking it. It says President Trump will nominate Boeing's executive, Patrick Shanahan, for Deputy Defense Secretary, one of 6 key Pentagon appointments announced today. All 6 have extensive service in government, or in Shanahan's case, the defense industry. Because there's no conflict of interest there. Let me just go from Boeing straight into the Department of Defense. Because I'm sure that he'll have the discipline enough to go ahead and say, you know what? Maybe we won't go ahead and go after this contractor. Maybe I'll recuse myself from that. But anyway, it says that's a stark departure from the 2 billionaires with no prior government experience Trump initially picked as secretaries of the Army and the Navy, Vincent Viola and Philip Bilden, both of whom withdrew. Thank goodness. Because here we look at what is going on here, folks. And again, I can't say me, I don't endorse anybody. I don't believe in endorsing anybody or putting anybody on a pedestal. I don't think that that's what we're supposed to do. And when we play into and take sides of this person or that person, then obviously the divide and conquer tool is used. And that's why we're in the place that we're in now. And we have to understand that unless there's a measure of accountability here, and that's normally Congress, but we don't have that type of accountability because Congress is corrupt, this is what ends up happening. You have the merging of private corporations and government. Folks, this is fascism. This is what you get. This is what Trump was brought in for. Back in the 1930s, there was an attempted coup on President Roosevelt to bring in a fascist dictator because they couldn't get anything done. Wall Street was hamstrung. They had stopped making money the way that they wanted to, which, of course, was 100% theft. And so they wanted to keep stealing. Roosevelt, even though coming from a prominent banking family, kind of stood in their way a little bit. So they were like, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Why don't we just take over the government and install a fascist dictator? I think that's probably the quickest way towards achieving our means of stealing more money. And so they went about trying to do it. But through the heroic actions of General Smedley Butler, and this is a guy who's no slouch. He's won not 1, but 2 medals of honor. Mind you, normally you have to die to get 1. And this guy got 2. Wrote a fascinating book called War is a Racket. If you haven't read it, it's less than 100 pages, but very, very good book to go ahead and give to those that might not understand that, prior to, it was the Department of War. It wasn't the Department of Defense. That was a Bernaysian mind trick that they used and changed it, But he knew from the 19th century and into the early 20th century when he was serving as a Marine Corps officer, just how the military was used for corporate purposes to protect corporate interests on a global scale. Nothing's changed since then, by the way, folks. It's all the same. The song remains the same. That's exactly what they're doing. That's why, now it's been told, the Army says that they're not going to pull out of Syria once they defeat ISIS. Why? Well, because they have to defend the corporate interests. And in this case, it's the natural resources that these private corporations are going to go and rape and pillage from these sovereign nations that we have no business taking their stuff in the first place. See? And so this is the problem, folks. So I think it's time to do something about this. And unfortunately, all of you that were just so enamored and the cult of personality of Donald Trump, everything's going to change now. Hear the record scratch? Yep. And here we are. I'm Joe Joseph. This was the DailySheeple.com's news shot. feel free to comment below. And believe me, folks, if you have something nice to say, that's great. If you don't have something nice to say, that's great too. Because we can all have differing opinions, and we can all still get along at the end of the day. I love America. Have a great day, everybody, and I'll have one again for you real soon. Take care.